Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for doing the interview. I'm really pleased to have you on. I interviewed Dahlia this morning, so we just recorded that.
Oh,
Yeah, we recorded it about
great.
3 or 4 hours ago. So it's actually quite cool to do you afterwards on the same day because it's obviously all like one big connected thing. So I would love for you just to introduce yourself, like who you are, your company, and then we can talk a little bit about what you guys do and maybe also touch on the Mi Primer Bitcoin connection.
Yes. Then, well, my name is Zussel Ramos. I started working with Amityage last year. Uh, I started in September actually, so almost a year ago. I started with this project, which it has been really awesome because when I first moved to Roatan, I did it because of Prospera, and Prospera is the special economic zone in Roatan where we have Bitcoin as a legal tender too. So the thing is that I moved because I wanted to experience this the Prospera, basically living in Prospera, because it it seemed for me like such a dream, because um, I've been reading about special economic zones for a lot of years now, and it was like this thing for me that it was putting into practice what you usually read on the libertarian movement, and kind of like a friendly to the investors, where you could have better jobs and better access to uh, professional growth. So yeah, so
So
I
this
was
is
really
really
excited.
interesting because could you talk about that a bit more? I think just to explain to people what Prospera is, which country it sits in, and how it works. Because I know a little bit about the free cities, but
Yeah.
I actually didn't realize that that was your connection to it or why you'd moved. So do you want to talk about that maybe first, and then we can delve a little bit into your background?
Yes, yes, of course. So, Prospera is basically a special economic zone in Roatan, Honduras, which is basically a platform of development where you can come and like bring innovative businesses. So we in Prosper have variety of businesses, and this is also like really cool because when you come to Prosper and you want to set up a business, you can do it very easily online, and in like 15 minutes you are set it up with your business. And Prosper is all about technology, so we have different basically different entrepreneurs coming here because it's like a good platform for technology. So there is like, for example, a circular factory which is building robots right now here in Prospera, and we have another one that is exploring some medical treatments with technology. I don't know much about that, just like on the surface. And then we also have the Bitcoin Center, which is what we're doing, and a lot of other things. Oh, there's another company that they're doing deliveries. They're exploring doing delivery, but with drones. So I think that is also like really cool, and it's like a platform.
How big is Prospera? Like, is it an existing town or is it just like an empty space that is being developed? And is it on the sea or like
Right
where is it?
now, right now, right now, it's not so many people living there because it's being developed. So right now they're building the Duna Tower, which is going to be actually the highest building of Roatan, and with 14 floors, and it's gonna be like the highest building, and also you can buy apartments, you can rent apartments there, and they're going to have another like shopping area on the building. So I think that is really cool, and right now it's being developed. So it's a startup city, right? It's a startup city, so everything needs to kind of like start at some point, and right now I know that they have 1,000, more than 1,000 residents, but some of them don't live here yet. So it's growing and growing with over time.
Wow, that's so interesting. So tell me a bit of background then about you and how you got involved in Bitcoin. Like, what's your kind of life story and when did you discover Bitcoin?
Sure. So I was, as I'm telling you, I was part of these libertarian movements on Honduras, and one is called Students for Liberty. This was when I was in college. And I think Bitcoin and the libertarian movements are always like walking hand by hand, because like either you know about Bitcoin for some reason, but then you kind of know that it connects to freedom, right? Like you just instantly, like when you research about it, Bitcoin connects to freedom. And also when you learn it from the other way around, is that you're learning about freedom and what does that represent, and then you come into the realization that Bitcoin is the best currency for freedom, is the free money, is the freedom money. So
I was going to
I
say it's
got
not
to
free
know.
money, if only.
Sorry.
I was going to say it's not free money. It might be freedom money,
No,
but it's
yeah,
definitely
no.
not free, if
Yeah,
only.
yeah, definitely not free, but it represents freedom money. And so I was in this group, and I got to know about Bitcoin for the first time in 2019, and I was just like educating myself about it, like kind of like having this journey, like self-education journey. But then I never bought Bitcoin because I was a college broke student. So then I was trying to get um, kind of like side hustles. This was 2 years ago, and I got this with this German guy. He was doing a podcast, and he offered me kind of like to work with him for marketing content and to add subtitles to his podcast and things like this. So I was working on this, but he told me that he could not pay me through PayPal because he didn't have any PayPal, and he it was very hard like to for him to pay me because he's from Germany. I'm in Honduras, and you know the crazy fees, how crazy fee can get. So then he told me, "Do you want me to pay you in Bitcoin?" And I was like, "Oh my God, this would be like the first time that I get paid in Bitcoin." So I had a friend that he was buying Bitcoin from some time now, and I kind of like asked him for guidance because I read about Bitcoin, but I never I never knew how could I get a wallet without exchanges, and I didn't want to get on exchanges. So he guided me basically, like opening up a wallet and everything, and then this guy paid me in Bitcoin for the first time. So it was like, oh my God, it's my first touch with Bitcoin, and I really liked it. It was so easy, so fast, and I had the money like this. So I was like, oh my God, I want more now. So then I wanted to apply to a different job. I was in a job that I didn't enjoy so much. So I wanted to apply to a different job that had to do, at the moment I said like I want something that had to do with crypto because I want to know more about it. And I applied for this company. And this is when I met Dushan, which is my boss. And he was actually helping me kind of like, because I had a lot of questions. And I told him like, I might, I think I will be getting paid in Bitcoin. So I need to know, what does it mean and everything. And I, because, sadly, we don't have everything that I can pay with Bitcoin. So I needed to know how would I going to, how would I was going to exchange the things that I needed to exchange. And yeah, so he was guiding me through it. but we were on a talk, like kind of like with drinks and stuff, and another friend was there, and she was like, "Why don't you just hire her, and then she doesn't have to deal with this other company?" Because he was like, "I'm not sure about them, and because he's a maxi guy. So when I told him I was going to for a crypto job, he was like, so then uh, he was like, actually, that is a good idea. I can hire you. And we had an interview, and then from since then it has been. I think my life has changed so much because um, I got so deep into Bitcoin that with his guidance, actually, like he was kind of like my mentor through it, like giving me books to read, giving me podcasts to listen to, and putting me like he would like tell to me like, you need to read this, you need to see this, you need to listen to this, and then now you have to teach me, like how would you teach this? So I was like on training for a lot of months until now that I think I am prepared like to teach other people about Bitcoin, about about the benefits of using Bitcoin. And it's basically what I'm doing now on a daily basis. And it's really like it's really like for me like really random because like a year ago I never thought I would be like so into Bitcoin and so much that I am working with my first Bitcoin, and I am part of the Bitcoin nodes, which for me is like an honor. And also, I am teaching the Bitcoin diploma. Um, I have delivered two successful classes, two groups that are already graduated, and about to start the third one.
Oh,
So
that's
I
amazing. So you've
think
already done two. I wanted to just back up a little bit as well. Can you talk about, is it, how do you pronounce it? Is it Amityage? Is that how you say it?
AT25,
So
yes.
what was the genesis of that company starting? Sorry, so your boss started that company, but what was his reason for starting it? What was his background in coming into Bitcoin?
Yes. So he's been into Bitcoin over right now for over 7 years. And he started. He tells it like kind of similar, like he kind of heard about it, and he was like at first like, oh, it's a scam, or I don't know about this, but then he started like self-educating himself and got really really deep into it, and now he wanted to just dedicate himself to Bitcoin. And also because he's been a teacher, like these are the jobs that he's had, he was a teacher in math, so it made sense for him to teach Bitcoin. But obviously these efforts cannot um, you just like do it and you don't have any funds, like you need money to do this effort. So he opened a company, Amityage, which is two sites, one Amityage Mining and one Amityage Academy. So basically the mining is funding the education's efforts that we do in Amityage Academy.
Oh, I
And
see. Okay, that's interesting. And so your involvement then in actually teaching, so he's kind of helped you educate yourself on the whole Bitcoin space. You've learned how to deliver this program. And how did you then get involved with the Mi Primer Bitcoin curriculum? And because just for context for people listening, you and I met through that. So we're both
yeah.
I'm part of Bitcoin Policy UK, and we contacted the Mi Primer Bitcoin team in El Salvador and became these sort of an organizational node, I should say, with a
Mhm.
commitment to teach 50 kids the program in the first 180 days of participation in it. So you and I met through that because you're the Honduras node. I think you're the only
Yes.
Honduras node, right? But
Yes.
how did Amityage get involved in that? What was the connection, and how did you guys become part of that initiative?
Yeah, of course. So we're based in Honduras. So hearing about El Salvador is very easy here. I know it's kind of like global. Everyone knows about El Salvador and what they're doing with Bitcoin and everything, but also it's very like we are literally neighbors. So then Dusan met some people from Mi Primer Bitcoin. like in different conferences
This is
that
your
he's
boss.
been. Yeah, my boss. And he contacted them, and then we had a meeting, and it was like a really, like, we really hit it off with my first Bitcoin. So Dusan really wanted to start uh like educating with the curriculum, because we had the book for the first time. Um like we read it together, kind of like a reading group, and we really liked it. So we wanted to teach it here in Honduras. And this was actually kind of like a year ago too, because he went to El Salvador conference, Bitcoin conference, and this is when he had like the first talks with them. And then we had some meetings with Dalia, which is she's amazing. She helped us a lot, like with the whole teaching process. And I was kind of nervous because when I started Amityage, I really never thought I was going to be a teacher. Dusan hired me to work on operations. Actually, like I am the chief officer, operating officer. So it was like kind of like random that he was like, well, you are our only Spanish speaking person of the team, so you need to teach now. And I'm like, what? Because I was not expecting to teach. And turns out I'm not bad at it. So then I'm kind of loving it right now.
Wow. So where do the students come from? So you've already done two cohorts. You're about to do the third. Are you going into schools to do this, or are they subscribing with Amityage?
Yeah, the way that we approach the schools in Roatan when we first came, because we're new and we're a Bitcoin center like company that people are like, you are scammers, and this is something that we get all the time. So we kind of needed to build trust in Roatan, and the way that we did it, with which I think it was a genius strategy, it was we organized a charity event, a Bitcoin Huron, which was a charity event to raise funds and donate them to three selected schools in Roatan. So this open, like, it was like, who are they and why are they helping Roatan? So it was like this, and we raised $2,600 in Bitcoin at that time, and we donated it to three different schools. So it was a very nice activity. Of course, like, we also like spent a lot of money like on logistics and everything. Like all of that work was with our money, and the race and the money that we raised, it was for the kids. So we helped schools kind of like with medications that they needed, and another school that it had, like, the bathrooms were like a total disaster. The bathrooms were not functional basically. So we helped them with these two, and this was a project, like, it was a beautiful project, and it also helped us kind of to put us on the radar in Roatan. So this way, when we would go to schools and visit them and tell them like, hey, we're on MTH, we're doing this and this and that, and we are educating Bitcoin, we're educating about money, because it's also like, another thing is that this is a small island that it's kind of like more difficult to promote things like Bitcoin, because they're not so exposed to it. So yeah, so the thing is that we did that, and we kind of like gained some kind of like trust in the community, and this is how we started visiting, like reaching out to every school, literally every school in Roatan, and telling them we're doing these workshops for free, because also thanks to the help of a lot of people that keep donating to our cause, we're doing it for free, the education, and also with the mining efforts that we have. But we're going to schools. We have meetings with the principals of schools, and we tell them why are we here? Why do we want to help? And another thing about Honduras is that we are lacking financial education completely on education systems. So
So that's the
yeah,
same across the Western world as well. I think we're all in the same spot there.
yeah, it's so bad.
By
It's so bad.
design.
I think they want it to be like that, you know. They want it to be like that. They want us to be ignorant in financial like education.
Yeah.
So then when we reach out to the principals, we're like, we know Honduras doesn't have the best financial education, so we really it's not only about Bitcoin. We want them to know about the financial world and how the monetary system works. And they are like, okay, yeah, yeah, I like that. So, and then we, of course, introduce Bitcoin into this education thing. And so, yeah, so then this is the way that we do it. We go to them, they don't go to us at the moment. Um, and
How long does it take you to deliver one of the programs? So remind me again, because I think the workbook has, is it 14 chapters in it? Is it 14,
10.
15? Oh, is it 10? Oh, okay. I
No,
thought it was more.
actually it's actually it's 9, and the 10th is the final test. So no, it's 9.
Okay. Okay, so that makes sense. And how long does it take you to deliver that? Are you doing one chapter a week? And like how many hours would you say the course is?
So each class is 1 hour and a half. So basically, I do it in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, and it's
You
15
d
hours.
Oh, really? So you do it in 2 weeks? You deliver the whole thing? That's amazing.
Yeah, I
Wow.
asked Dalia because the way that they have it is 10 weeks and they have one class per week. But for me, it was too much time, and it was also like in my mind, I think it was more effective if we just do it every day for 2 weeks. It's faster, they finish faster, and also their minds are kind of fresh with the information that I delivered the day before. So if I do it in 10 weeks and I teach like one class on a Saturday, and then the next one until the next Saturday, it's just like a whole week has happened. Like so much could happen in a week, right? And they forget and they have other stuff. So I really like the 2 week format, but I also tried before the 2 week format. I also tried before it was 3 days a week, and this also I really liked because it was like they have one day kind of like to rest, but I actually gave them homework, like to watch the videos that they saw on that they the videos that were on the book, and they would have to write a comment about the video that they saw on the group chat that I create. Like for every group, I create a WhatsApp group, and they were kind of like discussing like logistics and also like things that we discuss at the class on the group. So both of them have worked well. And yeah.
Interesting. Um, so can you talk in a bit more detail about actually delivering the course then? Like what the steps are? This is really just because I'm interested because I want to learn how to deliver it as well.
Yes, yes, of course. Yes. Uh, like details, like how do I, like logistic details, or what details do you want me to
Like, I guess
share?
I'm just curious what the journey is that you take the students on, because I'm assuming that you start with monetary policy and then like what are the steps, like at which point do you introduce like the Bitcoin mining and the wallets and all of that kind of stuff? Like what is the kind of journey that you take?
Yeah, basically the first 3 chapters are not about Bitcoin. Like the first 3 chapters are about history of money, evolution. How do the banks work? Why do the banks do it like this? What is a central bank? What are CBDCs? And what does it mean a CBDC and what consequences does it have. So it's not about Bitcoin at all. But at the end of one of the presentations, I kind of I think it's in the second chapter where I talk about CBDCs. I put up a meme, actually, it's a meme with CBDCs, like what does a CBDC mean? And then there's another meme about, and it's really
Hang on a
cool.
sec. You froze very briefly there. You said the meme for CBDC, and then you said, and then there's another meme, and then you froze.
Oh, sorry. So there's two memes, right? One about CBDCs and the other one about Bitcoin. And can I share my screen so you can see?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe?
Bear in mind this is going up publicly, so just make sure that you don't have anything on your screen that you don't want anyone to see.
Yeah, yeah, of
Okay,
course.
so just minimize those, and I've put multiple participants can share, so you should be able to bring them up on screen now.
Okay.
I need to
Let me
get my
share.
Spanish to a good level. You know, I speak Italian, and I was like, I really should get my Spanish to a good level because I just really would love to have conversations with all of you guys in Spanish.
So this is like one of the examples where I'm explaining about CBDCs. This is war to cash, like cash war, and this is like CBDCs versus Bitcoin. And I use a lot of cartoons and stuff like this, so it's more fun. And this is like a local shop, actually. Like everyone in Honduras knows what this is, and this is like a story that I tell. How is it like with the bank? But what does it mean to buy with cash, and what would it mean if we have the central bank knowing? And this is the meme. So you see this like sad person, and this is what is CBDCs, and this is like kind of like what does it mean,
Oh,
like
social
the
credit.
risks.
Okay. Wait, so let me
Yeah,
practice my Spanish here. So,
yes,
puntajes de crédito social, that's social
yeah,
credit score. Okay. Ataques de ciberseguridad, cyber attack.
yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry if
very
I'm
good.
butchering. Todos tus movimientos y acciones son rastreables. So all of your movement and actions are what's rastreables?
Like they know about it,
Ah,
like
okay.
they
Traceable.
can know about it. Traceable, yeah.
Traceable. Okay. Okay, that's a new word for me then. And vulnerabilidad ante actores estatales y extranjeros. So vulnerabilities as they relate to state actors and foreigners, strangers,
Yes, foreigner actors too.
foreign actors. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I'm doing all right. This is a good test. Okay. I know I probably do it with a Spanish accent instead of a Latin American, but is it acceso a su dinero
Yes,
y se puede desactivar en cualquier momento? Okay, so access to your money can be deactivated at any moment. Okay.
yes, very good.
Okay, cada transacción es documentada. So what's cada? Every
Every transaction.
transaction is documented. Okay. Cero anonimato, so nothing is
Yes,
anonymous. Is that right?
yes,
Los bancos tienen el control total de cada centavo que posee. So the bank maintains complete control. What's cada
of every
centavo?
cent,
Okay,
of
of every
every
cent.
cent you have.
And then fondos congelados, frozen funds.
Yay! Very good.
Hooray!
Yes,
Live Spanish lesson. Okay, so that's the
yes.
CBDC meme, and then which is
That's
the
the
Bitcoin one?
CBDC meme. And then I put this meme like I don't want this, right? And then this is actually a Hayek quote that is very popular in the Bitcoin world. He was talking about like how we will not have a good money until we take it out of the state of the government's hand, and the way that we should do it is a non-violent way, but on a way that they cannot stop us. And for me, that was like basically he was predicting Bitcoin at the moment. I
In
am a very Hayek
Espanol,
fan.
can you read it in Spanish?
Oh, ya. No creo que volvamos a tener un buen dinero antes de quitarle la cosa de las manos al gobierno. Es decir, no podemos quitársela violentamente de las manos del gobierno. Todo lo que podemos hacer es mediante alguna manera astuta e indirecta introducir algo que no puedan detener.
Nice.
Something that they cannot stop. And this is Bitcoin. So there's another kind of like
Okay.
meme cartoon. And these are
Shall I
what
do
is
the shall I do my Spanish test again?
yes.
Okay. 21 millones de la cifra tope de Bitcoin en circulación. So 21 million is the maximum amount of Bitcoin in circulation.
Yes.
¿Sí? Okay. Todas sus transacciones son anónimas. All of your transactions are anonymous. That's actually not 100% correct. That it should be pseudonymous. What's pseudonymous in español?
Oh yeah, pseudónimas.
Pseudonymous, yeah, because it's not
Uh-huh.
anonymous. Oh, look.
Yeah, you're right.
Correcting in real time. Okay, next one. Bitcoin Bitcoin ha experimentado de media un crecimiento de 2% anual. So Bitcoin has experienced, on average, a 200% increase in value annually. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you say, is it crecimiento?
Crecimiento.
Crecimiento, okay. Utiliza técnicas criptográficas que controlan el protocolo Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin protocol uses cryptographic techniques. Okay.
Yes.
Después, so es un red, is that right?
Mhm. Red.
Descentralizada al margen de organismos internacionales. I don't know what red is, so it's something decentralized at the margin of international organizations.
Yeah, which means like they are not like ruled by international yeah, like
What
institutions.
what does the word red mean? R-E-D?
Red red is network.
Okay. Like
Decentralized
rete.
network.
Got it. Okay. So in
Yeah.
Italian, that's rete. It's all red. Okay. Got it. Amazing.
So this is like the first time I mentioned Bitcoin, and then every other thing is not about Bitcoin, and I don't even get deep into it. I just compare it to CBDCs, and this is I talk about inflation, and then blockchain and Bitcoin, and
Sorry,
I
just for people listening rather than watching, you just flicked past a slide with Taylor Swift in. Where does she come in?
yes, I am a Swiftie, so I of course want Taylor Swift on my slides.
She's
So
under
yeah,
blockchain.
she's on the blockchain. Yeah, because I explain how like blockchain can also be about uh like you owning your art. Like it can also be like that. So then I put Taylor Swift as an example, like she could do this. But also like kids like Taylor Swift, so I'm like this kind of like could relate to you because you like Taylor Swift and she could use blockchain to own her art and basically like everything she writes. So yeah, this is how I do it. I really try to keep the kids kind of like entertained, and this is also something that you need to remember when you're delivering the classes. Is like they are still kids and they need to like you need to kind of like stimulate them somehow. And kind of like seeing Taylor Swift in my slides is like, whoa, what does she has to do with it? And also like seeing memes and stuff also kind of helps. And doing a lot of practical activities. It's very, very important to keep them kind of like interested about what you're saying because you have to kind of like go back to when you were on that age. Like what would have liked your teacher to tell you, and something that how would you would have liked them to teach you, so you are more interested in what you're listening to. And this is kind of like what I always do. Like I want to be the teacher that I wanted to have when I was um, I don't know, 15 years. So
What age
um,
group do you teach, actually? That's a good question.
so the first group, it was like 12 was my youngest student, but he was the only one 12, and then everyone else was 15 and up. And this is also like in my second group also uh 15 and up. I think it's better because they have more understanding. And I really remember that with this kid, like the 12-year-old kid, it was really hard for him to understand, and I kind of had to um, talk to him like separately to explain him like on simpler terms. So Dalia really recommended me that it's better to have a group of 15 and up. And that's why we've been talking also like um, about having a different version for a younger group of kids of Bitcoin diploma. Or maybe will be called different, but I think it is really important too, because, for example, when we go to teach younger kids about Bitcoin, because we have done that here in the island, um, what we do is read them a story, and this is the Bitcoin Money book. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's like a story, uh, very kid story, honestly. But it teaches about money, it teaches about banks, it teaches about Bitcoin. And we went to a school and kind of like just read it to them. And while we were reading, we were asking questions to the kids, and they were responding, and we were interacting together, and then we're like talking about the characters and everything. And this was very helpful for them, and I was very surprised also that a lot of them already know about Bitcoin, because they were literally 7-year olds. 7-year olds, and they knew about Bitcoin, and they're like, we're like, what is Bitcoin? And they're like, digital money. And it's like, what? But of course, like I think also it makes sense because you know the younger generations are more intertwined with internet and globalization and everything else. So it makes sense that they know about Bitcoin, but
I
it
think
also
kids, I
makes
think we're going to be all of us very happy when there's a day when you ask a group of kids what's fiat and they don't know what fiat is. Oh, you froze again. Oh, you froze. You're back.
okay. Yes, I'm back. I don't
No,
know what is happening.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was saying that it's going to be really lovely, like one day when you ask a kid what fiat is, and they're like, "What's fiat?"
Oh yeah. That's my dream. My new dream unlocked.
So,
Yeah.
are you planning on, is this kind of becoming like a big part of your daily work then? Is this sort of teaching you really enjoy it? And do you think this is something that you're going to be focused on?
I think it's becoming a big part of my job now, because, well, as I'm saying, I'm not super bad at it. So Dusan really likes it when I'm doing workshops, and also like people kind of like are welcoming about me, uh, for the fact that I am Honduran. And this is something important because I'm going to Honduran schools, and I am offering free education to them in Spanish, which is their language, and kind of like they relate to me because I'm Honduran. And when I go there, like for example, about explaining when I'm like explaining inflation, I put examples about Honduras, like how much a baleada cost in, I don't know, in the 80s, and now how much it costs now, like a baleada, right? And the examples he was using before me, it was a Big Mac, but it doesn't kind of like make sense because we don't even have Big Mac like McDonald's in Roatan. We have it on mainland, but in Roatan there's no McDonald's, so we shouldn't be using those examples. And so then it's
Roatan
like,
sounds like paradise. No McDonald's. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Amazing.
but I know it happens like for economic studies they use the Big Mac because it hasn't changed over the years. But also it's not relatable. For them it's not relatable. They maybe never tried one Big Mac in their lives. And they're like, okay, why is this important to me? So when I tell them about baleadas, which is something they eat almost daily, it's
What is
like,
a
oh yeah.
baleada? What is it?
Oh, okay. A baleada is our national dish and it's so popular in Honduras. Everyone eats baleadas in Honduras. And it's basically a flour tortilla with beans, sour cream, cheese, and you can put egg, avocado, you can put plantains there, and also like chorizo. So it's like a whole meal, but it's usually your breakfast. It's usually our breakfast, and it's very cheap
Hmm.
too. So I'm telling them like when I was in school, one baleada used to cost 10 lempiras and now it's 25. And then they relate more because it's like, wow, it was 10 before, or wow, like something that I eat every day, it used to be so much cheaper before. So, so I think it's more relatable. And I think that's also why we have had like a very good acceptance in these schools too. And we also did a mainland tour where we went to San Pedro, which is mainland in Honduras, and we had such a successful tour because we went to four different schools, and and one of them there were there like 200 kids and we delivered because we had so before we started the Bitcoin diploma we had only one introduction to Bitcoin, basically like Bitcoin 101, and we explained the whole thing in 1 hour and a half, and this is the one on the island, and then we decided that it was a good idea to go to mainland, and it was very successful because we educated like more than 500 kids in that one, so it was really good.
Wow, that's incredible. So do you think that this program is going to become a standardized program that's delivered to any kids who live in Prospera? So as families start to move to Prospera, do you think that they will start adopting this program as a standard one for their children?
Who?
Like the families that move to Prospera. So as the like community gets built out and more people move there, do you think that this will be part of the curriculum there?
Oh, do you mean in the schools in Prospera?
Prospera, sorry, I'm saying.
Well, oh, okay. So, um, maybe, but I would also want it to be kind of like they would have the right to choose if they want to do that or not. So we can definitely like tell them to add it into the curriculum like as an idea, but also it like I wouldn't enjoy if it's just mandatory and it's what it is. Uh, like I'm all about freedom, you know. So when I go to schools, I always like ask them, "Do you really want this?" Look, I am really open to explain it because one time I went to this school and it was actually my first Bitcoin diploma that I was going to deliver. And I was like, I think it would be a good idea if you offer like extra points to the students so they're more encouraged to join the group. And the teachers were like, I don't know because I don't know if I like Bitcoin. And I'm like, okay, uh, I can go and do a education session just for the teachers and any questions that you have, you can ask me right there. And I went and it was so funny because one of them told me that she've heard that Bitcoin was created by the Antichrist, and she was a Christian. And she was a Christian, and she didn't want me to be teaching about Antichrist to the to students. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
what?
I mean, that's a new one. I've not heard that one before, but that one is just, I mean, does she know how many churches are filled with Bitcoiners who are big believers in Bitcoin? I mean, there's a whole conference in Miami before Bitcoin Miami called Thank God for Bitcoin, run by Christians.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. At first I really thought she was kidding, but then it was not a joke. And and I really like try to be very like graceful about it, like kind of like, I think there are so many people that believe so many things, and you shouldn't listen to the first person that tells you this. I think you should research on your own and then come to your own conclusions. But if you ask me, no, Bitcoin is not made by the Antichrist. And so so yeah, so then kind of like I explained the whole thing. As I'm telling you, like the workshop is like the Bitcoin 101 workshop is 90 minutes, and then I delivered it. They answered all the questions they needed to know, and then they were like okay with it. So I am really open, even if you have the craziest conspiracies. I am very open to just go and you can ask any questions, and um, I will help you understand. And yeah, it's what I do, but it's also I'm telling you, like living on an island, it's sometimes difficult in this part because they're not super exposed to everything that is happening like outside of the island. So it is kind of like a challenge sometimes.
Wow. Sounds amazing, actually. I feel like I think I want to live on an island too. Wow, so that's a lot. This is really fascinating. I didn't realize actually when we'd first connected how far down the road you were in teaching all of that stuff. So that's pretty incredible. I would love to just chat to you a little bit as well while we've still got maybe 10 minutes left just to talk about what life is like in Prospera. Like, I'm really fascinated about what that experience is like. Did you grow up on the island or did you move there?
I moved here because of Prospera. I used to live in 𝘁𝗹𝗻𝗲𝗄, which kind of like it was why we had a successful tour because I knew a lot of people there and I could arrange. But I grew up in 𝘁𝗹𝗻𝗄, and I decided since the first time I heard about Prospera, I was like, I wanna move there, and it was like my decision. And I applied to a job when they weren't even hiring. I just sent an email like, "Hey, so this is my curriculum, this is my resume. Let me know if you're hiring. I'm available." And they were like, "Oh, at the moment we're not hiring anyone, but we will let you know." And I sent this email in 2020, and I got hired like literally like a year later. And when they were hiring, and they asked me for an interview, it was really great. So then I got the job, and I moved on April on 2021. So it was definitely like super crazy because I know it's still the same country, but it's so different in so many ways.
Really?
And yeah, because in San Pedro is the industrial capital of Honduras, so everything is so accessible. You have access to a lot of like things, like and some of the like things that you don't even think about. Like for example, when I first started in this job, working with Dushan, um, he told me like, can you get me like a cleaning tool for the coffee shop, and they don't sell it on the island. So when if I'm in San Pedro, I would be like, oh, of course I know where, and it's everything is so accessible. But here I was asking to so many people, and nobody sells this. So then you have to kind of like switch your brain and kind of like get used to these things that you will not have like an easy access, and a lot of things that you have to just get it delivered from other place to the island. But then when like there's also so many perks, like you can literally go to the beach every day, and living in Prosper I feel also very safe. I feel safe. I feel like I really like the projects. I really like also the network that I get to experience here, because so many people come to visit Prospera because they want to know more, because they read about it on the internet and they want to just come and see what is Prospera. But in this process, you get to meet so many people and do so many networking. Uh, so I really like it, and also um, I was kind of very like into libertarian. I told you about like libertarian books and stuff. And here you can literally have like a book club and reading Hayek and stuff. And it's like a different kind of paradise. And also the Bitcoin community that thanks to actually has grown so much. When he came, like there wasn't any Bitcoin community in the island, but then he started the Bitcoin community from scratch, and now we have 60 businesses on the island that accept Bitcoin payments, and we have a whole community. We meet up every month, and also we play volleyball. We have brunch together, and it's like honestly, it's the best place to live and work. So.
Wow. What was the genesis of your libertarian kind of leanings? Is your family like that? Is that your family background, or why did you have that sort of political kind of worldview, I guess?
Actually, it is quite the opposite. Like literally, my dad is so leftist, you cannot believe. He's very leftist. Like I was in sixth grade when he gave me like this horrible communist book and like about and he told me like you need to read this, and I was like okay. And I read it when I was in sixth grade, and I always I always thought there was something off. I was like, I don't know, this doesn't look so right. And then when I went to college, my college sadly is also very communist. So I was very influenced by these socialist ideas, and I was like, there's something off, but I didn't knew it yet. And then one friend, she invited me to Students for
There we go. Sorry, you froze. So you froze at the bit where
yeah,
you said your friend invited you to the libertarian something. Do you want to
yeah,
just
yeah. It was beers and ideas that it was called like this, and I was in college, so I was into beer at that moment. I'm not anymore, but the thing is that I went there and I was very doubtful at first because you know if you've heard for your whole life only socialist ideas, you are like, this is not good. But then my friend she told me like I'm trying to convert you like like an evangelist. And I was like okay. So she told me like you should read this book and you should read this article. She would send me articles, she would send me books, she would send me things to kind of like really convert me. So then I was like actually this is why everything that I've heard through my life always seemed very off. Like I never could say like I'm why 100% agree with this. Um, and then I started to research more about it, and then the book that I read that basically changed my way of thinking. It was a Rand's book called The
Atlas
Virtue of
shrugged.
Selfishness. No,
Oh,
The
right.
Virtue of Selfishness. That was the first one I read from her. It changed my way of thinking, and then it was like okay, this makes more sense, this makes more sense, and this is what I think it matches with what my beliefs. And then I got really deep into it, and thanks to this organization actually I've been able to travel a lot because they give a lot of scholarships for you to go to events like around the world, like freedom events around the world. And I've traveled to US like so many times for going to events. I recently actually traveled to Vienna um, with this same organization um, for an objectivist retreat. So I'm really nerdy, and it's like this is me. So yeah, this is my background in libertarian. But no, actually, it's kind of like my family actually don't get me because then I got into Bitcoin too, and they don't get me, but they also try to support me. And when Prospera was coming, there's people like usually the socialists of Honduras, they are not like they do not agree with Prospera and whatever. So I told my dad and I told my mom and my brother like, look, I don't care if you're socialist, but I'm going to be working in Prospera, so you cannot say one bad thing about it. So that's it, period. And then they were like, okay. And every time someone like, because their circle kind of like are leftist and they say something bad about Prospera, they're like, no, no, my daughter works there. So yeah.
Well, at least you didn't get disowned by your family, so that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Giselle. This has been so interesting to talk to you. I'm so glad that we connected. It's fascinating. I'm going to put Honduras on my list of places to visit and Prospera as well.
Yes,
So definitely,
definitely. And when you
definitely.
come here, I will give you the whole tour, really. Like I love spending time with people that visit, like especially Bitcoiners. Like, you know, we love talking about Bitcoin. It's our favorite topic. And so you can come, and if you dive, actually, if you dive, we can dive together and go to Satoshi's grave, which is one of the iconic spots in the island.
That sounds hilarious. I haven't been diving actually since I think I went diving once and I did my PADI open water and it was on the Barrier Reef in Australia. And I literally, that was like over 20 years ago and I haven't been to do that since. So I have dived, but I haven't done it for a very long time. But I would definitely be up for doing that. So
Yes,
100%. That sounds
definitely.
amazing. Well, thank you so much, Giselle. Stay in touch and thank you for your time. This has been brilliant.
Yes, I really love this interview and thank you so much for inviting me. I love what you do, like trying to, I think women are so important for Bitcoin movement. And actually it's funny because I've met like Bitcoiners, a lot of Bitcoiners that they got into Bitcoin because their wives told them to do it. And I know the power of women. I really know the power of women. So I love to meet like fellow girl Bitcoiners. It's like awesome.
Same, same.